Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Joining me on the show is co-host Adam Heist. Right now we're sitting on the 20th floor overlooking Sydney Harbour, and we're here for Southern Seller Fest. We're both here last year, and thought we would do a couple of podcasts for you as we're together. So today we're going to be talking about A9. Adam, you've had a play around with some of the stuff. We've been having background chats.
Yeah.
And so basically for the last few months, I've been working on two things. One of the key things is I want to build the world's largest A9 independent resource. I know you guys have been seeing me and hearing on the podcast a lot of stuff where I break down the science literature. So I've managed to not only speed up the process, but right now I'm going through 1,234 science papers, which is about as interesting as putting pins in your eyeballs. But what also to come with this is everyone's using, say, Chat AI, you've got Claude and et cetera. But what I wanted to do was build one with purely as a knowledge base of all the science literature. So basically you've got your own Claude, if you like, a low level Claude, but it's just loaded with the science literature that you can challenge it. You can ask questions. You can optimize your listings with it. If you understand about lexical, semantic and BERT matching, you can update your titles. You can redo your bullet points, and you can ask it, the bot, using the whole of the knowledge base, which is about, at the moment, 75 papers. It's completely free to use. You go to sellersessions.com. Now, some of you will have also read my 11,000 word article on A9. So again, I wanted to do the most in-depth article on A9 ever written. Kevin and a few others, the newsletters picked these up a little while ago, but that was very much incomplete, even at 11,000 words. But so far I've done 10 updates of that, which is now going to be just additional posts. And what I'm doing is dispelling a lot of the myths and stuff like that. I've got a big one I'm working on at the moment with multiple papers. I'm going to break down the halo effect for external traffic. A big one on the honeymoon period. I've done the evolution of the cold start, so you can go and have a look at that. I've done one on, and what happens is every article that I do, which is 2,000 to 3,000 words, there'll be some takeaways in there. And you can download the paper and you can challenge the paper yourself. I've got a big one on autocomplete from the ranking module, the behaviors, the popularity, the matching, semantic matching, lexical, etc., which I'll be dropping soon. I've completely broken down the myth of A10, again, in 3,000 words. So you get a better understanding of that. And so the question is, why am I doing it? Well, the industry's shrinking, and it has been for a while. And it's going to get to the point where you're going to have the haves and have-nots. And this industry is giving me a good living. So my purpose is to build this, is to get more people to work from the literature, as boring as it fucking is. We're getting to a point now with the knowledge base and me breaking down the articles. It'll give you a clearer picture on ranking. So you don't have to do reading abstracts and conclusions and looking up search phrases with inside the papers and trying to understand that. I'm doing that job. But for me, to move the needle and move the industry forward in a way is that if a 5-figure seller and a 6-figure seller can read that stuff and then they make good money and then they go, I want to go to a 10 grand mastermind because I can afford it, or I want to buy a 5 grand ticket to that event, or you can spend the money as you like. But for me, I want to give back. That's my way of giving back. And I want to open the black box of A9. And it's just going to be endless work to be done. But you'd be surprised just reading that yourself. I'll blow away a lot of the myths. And the whole point of the myth thing is to say, whilst this is an observation and this, but here's the literature, you'll make better informed decisions on your business as your margins are being kneecapped at the moment. And as I said, there's a lot of suffering. I've done enough talking. I'm going to let Adam do some talking now, but go to sellersessions.com. It's all there. Send me questions and send me some ideas as well, how to improve this. The more I can improve the bot, it becomes more powerful, the more beneficial it is for you.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything you want to chat about?
Yeah, I think one of the topics that Danny and I have been throwing around, and I think this has been a interesting dynamic debate discussion over the last probably year and a half. But I've started to see things shift a little bit. There's talk about Bird, and Amazon's getting better at their understanding of catalog relevancy and how are they doing that. If you rewind the clock, call it 2.5, 3 years ago, some of my more popular videos have been on keyword research.
Yes.
Not rocket science. You analyze, call it 10 competitors, see what those successful 10 competitors are ranking on.
Yeah.
And you've got anywhere from 20 to 80 kind of keywords that matter, depending on the search volume. And so the strategy historically has been pretty simple, right? Take those that are successful keywords for similar products that are successful, rank order them based on search volume / how relevant they are to your product and how likely they are to convert, and take the most impactful ones, put them in your title, boom, 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 boom. And then when those are checked off, you run out of character limits, and then you go down to the bullets, then you go to back-end search terms, and it kind of flush out as much keyword SEO as humanly possible in exact match form on your listing. And that had worked for a long time. I'd prescribed that as a strategy. It's one that I use forever. I was much more a fan of keyword stuffing than using more human language in titles, because most people didn't read titles, didn't really impact click-through rate, conversion rate a lot, because of the benefit you got from all of the organic benefit for ranking for and indexing for more keywords. And I kind of just stuck to that. I'm like, why fix what's not broken? I don't really like to tinker if it doesn't need to be tinkered, or if I'm not too curious about it.
Yeah.
The interesting thing came for me not from experimenting with listings, but actually in pay-per-click campaigns.
Yeah.
Something odd started happening, I want to say about 6 months ago, where I was, again, much more a fan of exact targeting in PPC, and isolating single keyword campaigns and just having those beefed out, play with budgets, play with placements. And again, similar to the SEO strategy, it worked really well. But then, we throw some broad match, some phrase match autos. And about 6 months ago, they just started performing crazy well. Whereas before, Amazon would kind of scrape everything. You'd waste a lot of money. They'd be putting you on irrelevant terms. You'd see a lot of bleed from those campaigns. Basically, those campaigns were just, you discover those niche nuggets that you didn't know about. But they were starting to outperform. Single keyword campaigns, every campaign. I'm like, what's going on here? Around the same time, there was your paper on A9. There was a lot of talk about the potential.
Not my paper. Their paper, me breaking it down.
Fair enough, yeah.
I'm not smart enough to write paper.
Your geeked out assessment, and God bless you for doing that, because I don't have the patience to do that, but your thorough evaluation of the literature. And then there was talk about Bird. Obviously Amazon's been doing stuff with the AI, and there's always stuff behind the scenes in terms of how they catalog index, how they rank words. And you don't always know exactly how and where and when they're implementing stuff. But that nugget on the pay-per-click campaigns kind of got me thinking that I started to see stuff about Bird. They clearly started to reorchestrate, put a lot of their backs in the advertising business, because it's such a behemoth for earnings. It earns more than their normal 3P business. And so there's this concept of semantic core, which basically means, and this is the test that I conducted, taking those same 10 competitors that are successful as an example, reverse ACINing them, you get a list of keywords like we would have done 3 years ago. But what I started looking at is the individual keywords that were the most identified in all of those keywords that match. So let's say that there was a specific keyword, hat. So you're selling a hat. And hat was shown 120 times on all the keywords that were pulled. That's the biggest single semantic keyword. But if you just target hat and you're selling something that's a little bit more specific, you would never really pay much attention to that. So what I did recently was I took these semantic single word terms, a lot of which might even be men, might be hat, men, whatever, dumped them all into a campaign. And it was one of the most successful ACOS campaigns I've ever seen for that particular product. It was 16% right off the gate. It was bringing in a crap load of volume. And then all of the carry-on terms that were used for those semantic cores saw uplift in organic rank. And so we started to play now with titles that are, we still focus on, I personally think that there's probably 5 single keywords that really matter for most products. Sometimes that gets up to 10, 15, but generally speaking, it's going to be a handful that really matter that you convert on, that you're relevant for. So that still stands. Single, you put those in the title as much as you can, but really focusing on those semantic single words bled out and with readability. I believe at least early indications directionally are showing me that could be the new game. And that's how Amazon's starting to structure their catalog, organic rank, searchability, etc.
So what's interesting about what you just said there, and this is very important, it doesn't matter for semantic matching for Amazon, it does to us. So using my words clearly.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter for BERT or semantic matching, because the tools, the designs, or the algorithms are designed to look at the whole listing. Our goal is to have as many keywords, individual words, listed in the listing that ranks.
Yes.
That's our goal. Amazon's goal is to serve the best possible search results to the customer. Our goals are not aligned with Amazon.
Yeah.
But the good news out of there, if they're scanning every part of your listing, regardless if it indexes or not, but then ranks you on keywords, right? Which you've got to put a new hat on for this, because we always think the lexical form of, single words that are indexed, etc., the basis of the word, right? So what we're doing now, we have some advantage in some of your campaigns is because of the semantics in that campaign. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
They've had a good performance, right?
Yeah.
So it's still worth testing these things. But if you look at lexical matching is the foundation. Again, I've done an article. It's about 3,000 words. I've done the history of matching, going from lexical to semantic with the papers. So all what's happened is see it in three buckets. Lexical's weak and limited. Semantic gives you context, and then BERT puts it on steroids.
Yeah. So
you've got an effect there. We don't get rid of semantic because we've now got BERT as a shiny new toy. You use all three, or Amazon or the A9 team or the Amazon team now, as it's called, because it keeps changing and everything else. They are building technology on top of top technology, which is more sophisticated in order to give the end user the best experience possible.
Yeah.
So they're not separated.
Yeah.
They're add-ons which are more sophisticated.
Yeah.
So each time they take a step up, which means it leaves us making sure that our listings are going back to being readable. Now, why? Technology has to move forward. But one of the reasons they needed semantic matching, why? Because of keyword stuffing, because of people like us trying to hack our forcefully through the system.
Yeah.
And it's not us, but there's other people with shitty looking listings because they're gaming the system. Then obviously BERT, which is bi-directional, is a 4-stage process, and it's trained on the domain. And which means with that, it makes it so much more powerful because it can take all historic behavior as well, and the other two match types, as in lexical and semantic, and really deliver great results. So it's very difficult for us to manipulate the system. They're basically saying, can you just put all the best relevant information into the system as possible, make it readable, make sure all your attributes are correct in your flat files, etc. And that's it really. But our heads is like, no, fuck this. We want to get that edge. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But it's so sophisticated. It's very hard, unless you do out and out black hat, to manipulate Amazon's algorithm anymore. Yeah.
I mean, my take on it now is before, keywords still matter. It's a keyword game. People are searching on the platform.
It is a keyword game.
Yeah. So that doesn't change. I think the difference is that most sellers in the product research stage, in the launch stage, and in the pay-per-click management stage, in terms of, if you take out supply chain and other operations in the business, 70+%, maybe more of their focus was all on keywords and playing that game. I think that keywords are basically going to be the ante. Amazon's already going to know what products are good for what. You can give it the right information, but you can't force feed it anymore. So it's going to come down to, as it probably should be, which is what are the best offers, the best products, and who's optimizing creative. I think that 70-80% of tweaking, hacking, analyzing, I think that's going to be going towards listing images, creative optimization, offer development, customer psychology. The crux of commerce, again, Amazon's usually 4 years, delayed from what standard D2C, standard big brand stuff does. I think that's going to now be the focus. So I think sellers in the next 2-3 years, they're going to be the really good ones. They're going to be the ones that develop the best products, that have the best listing creatives, and then have the ante on understanding how to set up the catalog. And then Amazon's going to figure it out. And your offer is going to live or die by the offer.
Yeah. If we were to zoom in from 10,000 feet, and after 3 years of studying the algorithm, there's 2 levers you need to pull. The lever of relevance, bear in mind we're 10,000 feet now, your price and relevance. And everyone hates talking about price because it's a code, or is it a cop-out? You still got to remember as that people are going on that platform for value for money. And in one of the articles that I covered, the psychology of price there, Amazon done a paper with a university. And what come out of that, everyone agrees that when they look at a more expensive product, they think it's a premium product, but they don't buy it in droves. So we talk about premium price product. I've done a load of data on this as well in terms of ranking. The new start point for ranking for most people is 5 to 10. Stop looking at positions 1 to 5, especially if you want to sell a premium price product. You will almost certainly never stay there if you get there. And if you're doing giveaways and all the other shit, all you're going to keep doing is keep feeding the engine, but you won't stay there 9 times out of 10. So I think we've got to take a new look at ranking. If you want to do premium price products, do it, but don't expect positions 1 to 5 in competitive categories.
Yeah.
That's reality.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, I mean, obviously the dynamics of exits have changed. I think that cash flow has become much more king in terms of having a sustainable Amazon business, right? Regardless of how things shake out the next couple of years, which is forcing the hands of sellers that you want to have net 15+% margins. When I say net, it's after everything, right? All of your expenses. And to do that, you've got to be very, very thoughtful about conversion rate. You've got to be very, very thoughtful about price, margin, all those things. And it's going to be unfeasible for most sellers to have those slots 1 to 5 and have sustainable margins and have cash spitting off the business and having an enterprise that they actually enjoy running. Yeah. So a lot of interesting developments. I mean, it's scary for a lot of folks because change is scary, but I think that's going to herald in a new era of how people think about products and managing their businesses on it.
Right now, I've not used it, but from a distance and the results I've seen from it, from observations, again, I've not used it, but prophecy is the way forward, where it's price optimizing for you. You feed it the data. I've not used it, but I'm very impressed by what I have seen, and that could make a big difference.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, and this is another, I think, shift too. I think, the goal should be 15% plus net margins just to have a sustainable business. And if you ever want to exit it, now that threshold is basically the bare minimum. But I think the other thing that people get hung up on is for the, 3 years ago when I was making, $600,000 revenue on this product and really good margins, I was priced $37.99. Yeah. And that's always what I've been priced at. And what tools like Prophecy does, you can do this manually. They've got a more automated way that kind of structures in real big databases is, maybe it's $31.49 or 44 cents, and you end up actually making $12,000 more in total margin. Your unit margin's down, but you're going to make 12. So why are you not selling it for that price? So I think that there's these old anchor psychology price points that folks have had from successful products from 2 years ago, and they're so tied to that. Like, I've always sold it for $37.99. I want that, despite the fact that now that they're getting 60% of their sales from pay-per-click instead of 20. That margin erosion is happening and all that. So I think that you're right. Playing with price, offer, creative, those optimization layers, I think, are the new optimization layers of Amazon. And it's less so about keywords, because keywords are the commodity. Amazon's going to figure out what they are. Your competitors don't know what they are. There's not a whole lot of uncovered keyword stone, so to speak, that you're going to uncover that's going to all of a sudden shapeshift your business.
Most exploratory campaigns, you're setting fire to money.
Yeah.
So everyone goes, I need to find the keywords, let's do exploratory campaigns. 99.999999% of those will yield you fuck all. And that is why Brian Johnson called it panning for gold, because that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And great, you find some shitty long tail keyword that sells 1 unit a month, but he's just spent 3.5 grand doing months of exploring only to waste your fucking time.
Yeah.
You know what your keywords are if you've done your keyword research.
Yeah.
You know what products will have super relevance. Have a scoring system. I've covered it on the show before. 5 steps of the, and so basically you want to be focusing on keywords that are relevant score of 4 or 5, which is matching to the product type and the modifier. Brandon calls these root notes, but if you think of a beard oil, right, that's a product type. A growth beard oil is the product type and the modifier.
Yeah.
So growth is the modifier, right? Now, once you start aligning the keywords like that, put away semantic, BERT and everything else, the more relevant that you are, the more chance you're going to convert on it. It doesn't mean you can afford to bid on that keyword or it's relevant to you. But long are gone the days where you're doing the guesswork where you've got like 500 search terms and you're using these. Like it scares me. When I look at these accounts, I've seen since 2018, somewhere in the region, 2 to 3 accounts a week when the team does audits, I look at their keyword reports. When I look at that, I'm astounded. But I've looked at between 600 and 1,000 accounts in that time. And you see all the patterns in there. You see people pissing money down the drain on wasted campaigns. Because what they're trying to do is try and go after cheaper search terms that I call neighbouring keywords that are not relevant. Or going after gift keywords, which of course you try and rank a gift keyword that isn't a fisherman hitting the fish, hitting the fisherman over the head with a wet fish. Your conversion rate would be 1/3, right, of your average conversion rate on your main keywords. Which means if you run PPC to try and rank something at 1/3 of the conversion rate, you're going to burn a shit ton of money just trying to get that keyword to move.
Well, then not only that, it's going to take down your category conversion average. If you look at the reports in the back of Amazon, they're looking at in aggregate for every eyeball that hits from pay-per-click to organic, etc., any word. And if you're converting at 10% and the average for your category node is 22%, you're effed. Yeah. You're completely screwed. And so I think that you've got to look at your aggregate conversion rate, not only on. That's why you got to just go after those 5 words that matter and the ones that are, you might find a couple nuggets, but generally speaking, it's not going to be rocket science anymore.
And let's quickly talk about what are often, not always, but what are the often keywords with the best click-through rate, the best cost per click, and the best customer acquisition cost is your branded keywords.
Yeah.
If you truly do have a brand and you have a lot of branded keywords, your customer acquisition costs are lower.
Yeah.
So you should look to the percentage you're spending on keywords to truly see if you have a brand.
Yeah.
Because we all got a brand on Amazon if you sell on Amazon. Because if that brand gets kneecapped by Amazon tomorrow, you can't put that up for sale because it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
So we still have to think it is a game of keywords and we are building a brand on Amazon's platform.
Yeah.
So keywords still matter. Relevance is going to be more important than it's ever been before. And a lot of times I think people struggle with is that whilst they're doing their keyword research, they're not using the general niche keywords of that product, or they don't exist. Let's say you bring a new product in and then you start using gift keywords because you're like, well, what other fucking keywords have I got?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That works against you. So really, there's only a few keywords you can go after. Whether they're affordable for you to go after is a different question.
Yeah.
But if you're using non-relevant keywords, you're just going to piss money down the drain trying to save a product.
Yeah.
So what's going on for you in terms of next year? How you making your shift in terms of ranking and stuff?
Yeah, I think I took a back seat on launching a lot of new products this year. The thought being is I really wanted to shore up the math structure and margin structure of a lot of the stuff. So we did a lot with negotiations, optimizing the products that we had. And then the better part of last year was very much about international expansion. And really where we lost the ground on a lot of different products, how could we make the ground back up? Which ones we have to just say, hey, we're not going to, it's a dead dog or a dead horse, quit beating it. But it was all about international expansion last year, which actually turned out really good. And then some of the products that historically ranked well, that lost a lot of custom, we've got those back and humming. So you've got to put your attention to your winners. I think it's like the Pareto thing, 20% of your SKUs are bringing 80% of the performance, but people put attention on the bleeders and everything in their catalog.
Yeah.
So we doubled down on the ones that were really bringing in value, optimized supply chain, ordered a lot of stock, got things structured, expanded internationally.
Yeah.
And then literally the last 3-4 months, we've just started launching products. I've actually got a bunch of samples here for evaluation here for next year. So we're going to start getting back into the product expansion game. Most of the products we launch now are very tangential to what we're doing now. Either they're a variant of a successful SKU and or it's very like right in the same pocket, customer, etc. And that's the game that I've been playing and working well. So I think it's the focus needs to be less so on launching a crap load of products, but launching them thoughtfully.
Yeah.
Culling your catalog and letting go of the ones, even if they're successful and making you money, they may not need the attention anymore. And then focusing on international expansion where that margin erosion isn't as much of an issue.
Yeah.
And then it becomes much more of an operational game. Staying in stock, navigating the entrant into these new international markets, and then being super thoughtful about the new products you launch. And then outside of that, honestly, it's been a huge focus on creative. We've been really focused on A/B testing every single month, every single SKU that matters. I think you should be doing a test on every SKU that matters in your catalog every single month, even if it's just changing an angle and whatever. So we've been putting a lot of our energy towards creative development and testing. So
cool. So should we wrap?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, wonderful to see you. Hope you found that useful. Go sellersessions.com, A9 algorithm. It's all there. Go through the articles, go through the bot. If you have any ideas of prompts or other ideas, on a weekly basis, as I start to pull the needles out of my eyeballs reading all this fucking documentation, I'll start adding more and more. But I'm trying to make it very focused on what I believe will be released. And I have a number of things in my career criteria, including looking at patents and stuff like that. So we start to get closer to the truth. And I'm a big believer in, people say there's your truth, there's their truth, and then there's the objective truth. So for me, getting to the objective truth matters. Time is money. I don't want you wasting money or your time because you can't get your time back. But take a look at it, give me some feedback, and hope you enjoy using them. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.